Hello, I'm Michael Walsh, Senior Educationalist at the Royal College of Physicians. I'm here to talk to you today about teaming, what it is, and why in this current COVID-19 pandemic is more important than ever for clinicians to be able to do it. I'd like to start off by talking about the difference between teams and teaming. If I asked you to think of a good team, you might think of a range of examples. Perhaps a sports team that are particularly high performing, or maybe a team in your local hospital that works really well together. So what is it that underpins these teams and makes them a good team? They've typically had time to come together, to rehearse, practice, get their plays or protocols in place, and have a strong understanding of their individual role and their collective identity. They've often had lots of shared experiences, both successes and failures that have brought them closer together and informed their practice. They often have a good knowledge of each other. They know the strengths and limitations of team members and use this to help them achieve a collective goal. So how does teaming differ from team working? Well, teaming is a dynamic activity. It's team working on the fly. It involves coordinating and collaborating without the benefit of stable team structures. Teaming requires skill and flexibility to act in moments of potential collaboration. It relies on teamwork skills, recognizing and clarifying interdependence, establishing trust, and knowing how to coordinate. So with that in mind, why is teaming so important in times of uncertainty? Teaming is used when there is a lack of time to build a foundation of familiarity through the sharing of personal history and storytelling, nor is there time to have shared experiences through practice. When we're working in times of crisis, we're often working in new or unfamiliar ways, with people we may be unfamiliar with. Teaming is particularly important because of the time and service pressures we're currently experiencing. We need to provide a high level of care and support whilst looking after ourselves and each other. Alongside that, we're working in a complex adaptive system. Guidelines are being updated frequently. We're learning lots about the disease very rapidly. Our teams are changing very quickly for a whole host of reasons. Healthcare workers taking ill and having to self-isolate, people returning back to work, people being drafted into working new and unfamiliar places. And also, reciprocal interdependence. We work in a complex system and we need to deliver care to many rather than just to individual patients. As clinicians, we're part of a much wider group of people that provide care, and we rely on everyone to perform their role if good care is to be delivered. So here are some top tips for teaming. Situational humility. Situational humility is a simple recognition that you don't have all the answers, and that you certainly don't have a crystal ball. It makes it easier for leaders, especially those with self-confidence, to recognise the validity and the power of a humble mindset. Keep in mind that confidence and humility are not opposites. Confidence in one's ability and knowledge when warranted is far preferable to false modesty, but humility is not modesty, false or otherwise. Strength as a leader can be aptly demonstrated by the immediate admission of mistakes or admitting to not knowing the answers. This increases the psychological safety in the group and bonds the group more tightly. Psychological safety is crucial. We can't afford to be fearful of each other in the current climate. Be curious. Ask questions clearly and frequently. Be curious about what others bring, and that curiosity can also spawn a generosity of interpretation, an acknowledgement that everyone is working hard and doing their best. Lastly, information finding. You are exceptionally talented individuals. What can you do to speed up this information sharing? How quickly can you find the unique talents, skills, and hopes of your colleagues? And how quickly, in turn, can you convey what you bring? Doing all of these things can help us prevent fear of failure, reduce groupthink, flatten hierarchies, and reduce information hoarding, which is going to be crucial to delivering high quality care in the current COVID-19 pandemic. Now I want to show you some examples of where the principles of teaming have been applied in practice. In this first example from James Mountford, Chief of Quality and Learning at NHS Nightingale, we can see that clinicians from all professions and the operations team are coming together in a daily learning forum. You can clearly see situational humility in practice. There is an open acknowledgement of what we still do not know, whilst being solution focused, thinking about what we can do to address gaps in understanding. Similarly, what have we learned today and what are we going to do differently tomorrow embodies the idea of being curious and information finding. As James said, leadership and learning for patient benefit is happening at an unprecedented scale and pace. This second example is from the British Thoracic Society and suggests ways that we can interact with patients and share information and insights with other staff to minimise exposure to COVID-19. This is a great example of where information finding and sharing can be used to improve care for patients and minimise risk to staff. It also demonstrates that traditional roles can be altered. For example, any healthcare worker takes in a new food tray or removes an old food tray. This highlights the fact that we're working in a complex adaptive system and that we have reciprocal interdependence. We all need to work in ways that benefit and reduce risk to all. Thank you for listening to this short presentation on teaming. On behalf of myself and the Royal College of Physicians, I'd like to thank you all for your selfless work. Keep safe.